In the shadow of this little shrine, the destiny of the church and world will be essentially co-determined for centuries to come. 60 years ago, on November 18, 1963, our father and founder made another prophetic statement in Milwaukee, which reached further afield. What I'm going to say now may be of elementary importance for the future. Everything which holds true for the original shrine and for the daughter shrine also holds true for the home shrine.
So we can say that it is in the shadow of the home shrine where the destiny of the church and world will be essentially co-determined and all. Let us ask, what happens in the shadow of our home shrine that will bring about the renewal of the church and world? Well, in our home shrine, the Blessed Mother reigns as Mother and Mediatrix, promising to distribute gifts and favors and graces. Grace so needed for any transformation, any change, any turning away from evil and sin, and turning toward virtue and holiness. Father Besler, a co-worker and very loyal follower of our father and founder, confirmed this truth. You can be as brilliant as you want, but with all your genius and your talents, you will not convert anyone. That's what it's all about in 𝐒𝐿𝒂𝒂𝒓. Your religious life is to be awakened and shaped. You know, if you are creative, you can perhaps write a brilliant book or do something else great. That's fine. But to lead people to a supernatural life, you need more than being a genius. Do you know what is necessary? Grace. To renew religious life in a people or a nation, there is no need for money, exterior resources, or propaganda. It needs grace. If grace exists, everything else comes by itself. In the shadow of our home shrine, when we diligently bring her contributions to the capital of grace, these contributions will urge our Mother to direct this special stream of grace into our world and church, and into our hearts as well. The grace will change hearts and bring about renewal. In 1939, in the second founding document, Father wrote, "In addition, we are approaching a time in which the contributions to the capital of grace of our Mother, thrice admirable, may not be the most and effective, but they might be the only means of serving our Marian apostolate. May our Mother, thrice admirable of Schoenstatt, implore for all children the correct understanding of the contributions to the capital of grace, of the Marian character of our family, and of its divine mission, the moral and religious renewal of the world."
Today, we can picture Father Canton speaking the same words. Surely we see how relevant our home shrine is now. In the shadow of our home shrine, the Blessed Mother reigns as Queen. Recalling our crowning history in Schoenstatt, we know how powerful it is when we proclaim her Queen and offer her the crown again and again. Father Kentenich shows us this. Have you noticed that we are becoming more aware of our helplessness day by day? I know no better answer to our helplessness and perplexity than continuously repeating the coronation of our dear Mother. But if we crown our MTA and depend on her time and again, later on we will see that Our Lady has the reins in her hands all the time. That is why, through thick and thin, we rely and trust unshakably that everything will be all right. You understand why I myself am sincerely happy that you feel the need to crown Our Lady. I do the same thing. I crown her each time history goes wrong. The Mother of God is truly a queen. She is queen in the kingdom of mercy, in the kingdom of kindness, through her intercession. That is to say, she is regal in her intercessory power because she is the Queen Mother. She may and must prove again and again that she is the suppliant omnipotence in our needs, our economic as well as our religious moral needs. She can achieve everything with her Son through her intercession.
Our Lady is the Queen of Mercy. Can't we take that for granted? She loves God infinitely, so she must love us. God gave her a motherly heart. By virtue of this motherly love, she has to love those in particular who are so helpless. We count ourselves among her most helpless children. Genuine and truly motherly love is awakened to the extent that helplessness joins its hands in prayer and reaches upwards. She is Our Lady. She belongs to us, and we belong to her. How powerful, then, when we crown her in every need and trust in her powerful queenly intercession before her Son, the King. From our home shrine, our Queen can work many spiritual miracles of healing, of transformation, of growing in greater holiness, of bringing mercy to our poor, broken world.
Here we see how relevant our home shrine is now. In the shadow of our home shrine, our Queen reigns as the victress. She is the one who, with her Son, crushes the head of the serpent. She's been victorious in all the battles of life. With her there is always victory over all the ungodly powers. With her we need not fear anything. With her we gain security and strength on our journey. She will win the victory for us everywhere if we do not let go of her hand.
Father 𝐾𝐥𝐚𝐜 stated, "You see, times that are apocalyptic in nature must bear the mark, the essential mark of the triumph of Satan, and are diabolic times." And how does Mary appear in sacred scripture? How does she appear in God's plan? As the great 𝐒𝐡𝐵𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒓, she will crush the devil's head. Whenever the devil comes more into the foreground, Mary must rise to the occasion. Therefore, we cannot stress enough how relevant the home shrine is now. In the shadow of our home shrine, the Blessed Mother fulfills her task as educator. Mary is our great educator. She has chosen the shrine, our home shrine, as her workshop, as the cradle of sanctity from where she wants to educate us. First, toward a life of genuine childlikeness before the Father, so that we can truly give him his rightful place in our life and trust in his providential care for us.
Also, molding us into open vessels so that the Holy Spirit can pour the abundance of grace into us.
Then, giving birth to Christ anew in us, so that we can bring Christ into our world and serve in all times, even when cross and suffering become a part of our life.
Lastly, forming us into the Marian person, another Mary. For when we follow her way, we can become a more perfect helpmate and associate of Christ in his ongoing work of redemption.
In other words, when we are formed by our educator, we are then powerful witnesses by our very being an example to draw others back to the Father. Our example speaks louder than any words we will ever speak. Therefore, the need to be formed into saints from our home shrine. See how relevant the home shrine is now?
In the shadow of our home shrine, we find the domestic church. Our home shrine is the place of the lived domestic church, the realization of the domestic church. How important is this little domestic church? The family has received from God its mission to be the first and vital cell of society. It will fulfill this mission if it shows itself to be the domestic sanctuary of the church through mutual affection of its members and the common prayer offered to God. Insofar as it is a small-scale church, the Christian family is called upon, like a large-scale church, to be a sign of unity for the world, and in this way exercise its prophetic role of bearing witness to the kingdom and peace of Christ, towards which the whole world is journeying.
We know that it is through the family that our world will be renewed. Therefore, the need that each little domestic church is very vital, and living the faith to be an example for others, and as little apostles, go out to bring the good news to other families. From the home shrine, where the domestic church is alive, we can do just this. How grateful we want to be for the home shrine, our little domestic church, as we walk through these times. As Father 𝐾𝐥𝐚𝐜 stated in 1963, collectivism can close or destroy all the churches, close or destroy all our shrines. But the home shrine, no one can destroy them.
Do we see how relevant the home shrine is now? Let us pray that the countless of home shrines throughout the world forming a massive network will be instrumental from the shadow of each one and help to change the destiny of the church and world now.
In closing, we hear words from our founder on the gift and importance of the home shrine. Divine providence, the guidance of the Blessed Mother, and her covenant loyalty know the situation of today and know the danger zones of life in our day and age. A secularized world, a profane world, a de-divinized world whose atmosphere is pagan in character. Because of this, we have as a fruit of the second exile the home shrines. What does that mean? If the renewal of the world has and must have its beginnings in the renewal of the family as the nucleus of the shaken social order, then everything depends, of course, on the family and our family too, growing completely into the supernatural world. So that this can take place more easily, there is not only the daughter shrines, but also the home shrines. Father 𝐾𝐥𝐚𝐜 continues, the home shrine. One room in our home wants to be seen above all others as a shrine. And the deeper reason for this, we must constantly go out into the profane, into a de-divinized atmosphere, the sacral atmosphere. After all, as a social being, we are greatly formed interiorly by our surroundings.
Therefore, and we want to make sure we remember this, how well the Blessed Mother has also shown us her loyalty by inspiring, encouraging, indeed, almost forcing us via the home shrine to take the sacral atmosphere with us into our homes.
esta es una oportunidad para, invito a mi mamá que venga aquí al frente. Invite my mom to come forward. And we'll share with you the goal now is I didn't want to disappoint the sisters and say, are your parents going to talk? You know, we had a schedule that they were going to talk, and then we did some changes, and then they ended up not giving a talk. And then people say, well, are your parents going to talk? So I'm trying to include this as part of our retreat. The testimony of my parents and myself, me being raised in a home shrine, the home shrine that my mom and my dad built. So we'll talk a little bit about just be more sharing and the opportunity to ask any questions. Lo que queremos entonces ahora, pues a petición popular, entonces mi papá y mi mamá y yo estaremos aquí para compartir la experiencia de un santuario hogar. Yo fui criado en el santuario hogar que ellos cultivaron y establecieron, así que pues, es una oportunidad para compartir un poquito el testimonio de nuestras vidas. So, to ask questions, to share, una oportunidad para hacer preguntas y compartir.
You have no idea what that is.
Yes.
So this is the root of, I guess, our home shrine. This is the little space that I had when I was in college. So every year, 4 or 5 years in college, this is what I had, part of the boys group. So parte de la juventud masculina, ese era el rinconcito que tenía en mi habitación durante el tiempo en el colegio, en la universidad. Claro, eso entonces, cuando nos casamos, se convirtió en The Next Picture, Please. Ahí está. Ese es el santuario de nosotros, nuevecito. That's just a brand new home shrine. Remember, that's 50 years ago. Okay, 50 years ago, 50. So we have some more we can continue showing. So, that is.
I was pregnant.
Okay, so.
And I was praying for him.
So there you have it. I think the prayers work. So next. There's Father Carlos. And that's his older sister, Maria de los Ángeles. So again, that's part of the shrine. See the crown on the top, your big ship?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lo tengo que decir en español, todo el mundo lo está captando, porque todo el mundo se está riendo. Okay. Next one. And of course the family grows. 1980. And of course the home shrine grows as well. Next one. That's Teresa and another of the homes. There are 3 of the homes that we have. Every time we have a home, or we try to select a home, we know that she was behind it. Every single one. Cada vez que nos mudamos de hogar, de diferentes casas, sabemos que ella estaba detrás de cada uno de ellos. Ya para este tiempo, dame el próximo. Okay, ese es el actual. Una de las cosas que más nos impresionó a través de toda la trayectoria es que siempre la juventud ha estado apegado a nuestro santuario. So one thing that impressed us all is that, you know, throughout our entire marriage life, our home shrine has been like a little shelter for youth, for the youth. Even from the beginning, not a secret that we knew Sister when she was in her teens, because her family, and we got all the families together at a house where? In a santuario. So just to illustrate one of the powers, so to speak, or one of the influences that the Blessed Mother had in bringing the youth into her and into her mission. So that's what it looks like right now. So now the presenters can turn around and talk about some other things. Papelito, so I didn't exaggerate. I could be here for all day and all night speaking about our home shrine, but I have a little piece of paper, so I limit myself on what I can say. So that was the first one. The first one was every home we have, every home we thought we picked, she was behind it. One of the houses one of the first houses in Constancia, tenía corazoncitos, me dijeron, Remember that? So the ornamental iron, the ornamental protection that the house has, was made up of hearts. So our home shrine name is 𝐒𝒂𝒏𝒕𝒊𝒐's Father's Heart. So it's like, we see these little signs every place within so far. The house that we have right now, which had for
3 years.
For 33 years, we didn't pick it. Our selection of the house was a different one. And we said, it had a pool and it was close to, it was too far out from the city. We said, it's what we want, but okay, let's take the other one, the second one. When we walk into the second one, when you walk in, what you see is basically, you can see it from here, it's in this form of shrine. And as you walk in, inevitably, the first person you meet is the Blessed Mother. So we say, okay, she selected the house. It's a good choice. So, experiences?
Bueno, yo puedo añadir, what I can add, that maybe you didn't mention, well, the picture and the frame was given to us in our wedding because we were married in the shrine in Puerto Rico. So we have been carrying or enjoying that picture with the frame for 50 years. So, for example, it's kind of a little bit faded. So when I go to his home shrine, and it's so shiny, mine is 50 years old. So, but I'm so attached to it that that's the one we have in our house. And to be more specific, in our wedding, the 𝐶𝐤 shrine in Puerto Rico was almost done, but not yet. So, ¿cómo se dice andamio?
Scaffolding.
It still had the scaffolding and all that. It was not finished, but I remember our padrinos, our godparents, I guess, our godparents, Hilda y Jesús, they used a picture of them, was in the video.
And in the booklet as well.
And it's in the booklet, yeah. When we were planning our wedding, I remember Hilda telling me, why don't you get married at the shrine? And for me, that was, oh my goodness, can we do that? Thank goodness Father Guillermo Esther was in charge of 𝐶𝐤 movement in Puerto Rico, and he said yes. Of course, it was German, so he didn't know all the little details that you have to follow when somebody gets married, the document and the legal and all that. But so for him, it was not a big deal. Just get married in the shrine. So we had our wedding there, but of course, it has the scaffold. But the boys, the young men, went to 𝑬𝒂𝒏𝒕𝒊𝒑 the night before, came to the shrine, brought recliners so we can pray there. And when the mass started, we had the picture of the Blessed Mother in the shrine when the shrine was not finished. I said, oh my God, somebody brought the picture. We read it by ourselves and all that. And then when the mass was over, Father Guillermo goes over there and says, this is my gift. We almost had it. So, then after that, how many minutes I have? Whatever, okay. So after that, you have to go to the honeymoon. So, we were finishing college. So I was working part-time. He was working part-time. So we decided we couldn't have the honeymoon in Puerto Rico. It's expensive. So we knew there was a shrine in the Dominican Republic. And in the Dominican Republic, the hotel and everything was such expensive. So we went over there. Of course, the first few days we were in the pool, having good food, blah, blah. Then it was time to go to the shrine in the Dominican Republic. So, of course, we don't know exactly. We didn't have GPS. So, he's so good with directions. So, I don't know how he handled it. The thing is, we were there at 5 a.m. Morning prayers at 5 a.m. We visited. It was so special just to be honeymooners and be there praying for the church and for us because we're starting a new life together. So, I remember they were in shock too. You're honeymooners? Oh my God, and you're coming here to pray? Yes. children of the Blessed Mother, and we want to start the right way. So I think that's enough for me.
A little footnote is the place that she's referring to, the shrine in the Dominican Republic, is the place where the parish of Nativity and other parishes, now St. Timothy, they go there yearly as a mission trip. So they go to the actual shrine that my parents went when it was honeymoon and it was just newly built too. I think
Because they were blessed like one day after the other.
So and where they got married is the Schoenstatt Shrine, the first shrine, the national shrine of Puerto Rico in Cabo Rojo. So, which happened to be when they were finished and blessed, it was blessed in the same weekend. The shrine of the Puerto Rico, or Cabo Rojo, and then the shrine of the Dominican Republic, La Victoria. They were all both blessed in the same weekend. So when Puerto Rico celebrates the 50th anniversary, when Dominican Republic, La Victoria celebrates their 50th anniversary of the shrine, it's the same year they celebrate 50 years of marriage because it was the same year. Déjame mencionar algunas de las cositas que se han mencionado, no sé, a couple of highlights, at least in Spanish, of what was shared so far. Pues, vieron las fotos, las que mi papá compartieron fueron fotos de diferentes hogares, donde el santuario hogar de ellos se ha manifestado en diferentes casas. Mi papá da testimonio de que las casas en cierta manera fueron escogidas por nuestra Madre Santísima. Hubieron señales en las diferentes casas donde decía, aquí es donde nuestra Madre Santísima quiere que nos mudamos. De las fotos que vieron, la primera era la foto de mi papá con la juventud masculina universitaria en los dormitorios de la universidad. Un pequeño detallito, esa es la imagen que yo heredo como hijo de él. En mi cuartito, ustedes vieron mi santuario hogar, pero si fueran a mi cuarto, en mi cuarto yo tengo esa imagen que heredé de mi papá, de la juventud masculina universitaria de los tiempos de mi papá. Y esa fue la imagen que estuvo en mi cuarto desde que yo tengo uso de razón, esa pequeña. Y cuando fui a la universidad, cuando fui al seminario, cuando he ido de parroquia en parroquia, esa es la imagen que fielmente ha estado conmigo desde antes de haber nacido, porque esa es la imagen que heredé de mi papá. Esa está en mi cuarto, otro día se la enseño. Pues mi mamá acaba de compartir un poquito del testimonio de ella, de haberse casado en el santuario de Schoenstatt, cuando no estaba todavía completado, y la imagen que estaba dentro del santuario, que no estaba terminado, fue el regalo de matrimonio que recibieron. Y de ahí se fueron en luna de miel al santuario de la República Dominicana, que era el que estaba mencionando anteriormente. Bueno, no sé si tengan preguntas o si algo quieran más comentar.
Yo tengo muchas historias, pero pregúntame.
Cuando celebramos 40 aniversario, que todos hicieron la alianza. Todos hicieron la alianza. Entonces, ninguna obligación. Pensábamos, vamos a dejarlo libremente a ver si lo hacen. Todos hicieron la alianza ese día. So, when we celebrated our 40th anniversary, that was 10 years ago, obviously, we celebrated in Puerto Rico. The sisters were so gracious, they prepared everything for us. But what's important was that, all the kids, every single one, made the covenant of love. And they weren't forced. We're not forcing any of them to do this. They said yes, they wanted to get prepared, and Sister Nancy helped with preparation, with preparing them. So she was also present there and witnessed everybody's covenant after. And 40 years after that, if you go to each of their homes, of course they have a little place for a prayer, a little place for the Blessed Mother.
Bueno, la oportunidad de ustedes para hacer preguntas. This is the opportunity for you to ask questions.
Curiosidad. ¿Cómo usted hizo la alianza antes de estar casado? ¿Su familia también tenía la alianza o solo fue usted primero? ¿A qué edad?
10 y pico. 19.
Yo lo hice después de él, porque yo no conocía a Schoenstatt, él lo conoció primero. Yo era muy amante, I always went to church, and I was very, I say that, devoted, but I didn't Schoenstatt until he showed everything to me. Because he belonged to the, ¿me entiendes? En in English?
No importa.
Okay.
Bueno, yo para mí no importa.
He belonged to the youth, to the men, you know, and he learned quite a few things. And then I saw the change, and I wanted to belong too. So that was the way it started. And then I was so blessed that my roommates and my dear friends in college, well, 3 of them are nuns, and the 3 of them became Sister of Schoenstatt too. So we were blessed with, I guess when a shrine is being built, I guess, that foundation generation, they get a lot of blessings. And we were blessed with those kind of girls that belong to the group of girls. And I got married, but some of them, like I said before, like Sister Nancy, Sister Iris, and Sister Maria, and there's another one, I forgot the other one, but anyway, they were so, fell in love with the movement that they decided, no, I'm done with college, I'm going to become a sister too.
Para traducir un poquito también en español, mi papá fue el que hizo la alianza de amor primero, a sus 19 años, como universitario. Mi mamá, atraído por lo que estaba viviendo mi papá, también decidió, ya eran novios para ese tiempo,
Sí,
se sintió atraída a también hacer la alianza de amor. Y pues parte de esa juventud universitaria, fundadora del movimiento de Schoenstatt en Puerto Rico, pues muchas bendiciones, entre ellos 3 hermanitas que han salido de ese grupo de juventud. De ahí salieron muchas familias santas y vocaciones religiosas.
So we can even talk.
Yo tengo una pregunta.
Pregunta.
Para usted. Ustedes empezaron como juventud masculina y usted femenina. Después que se casan, ¿cómo toman la decisión? ¿Cómo se educaron? ¿En matrimonio después de casarse o siguieron como la rama? ¿Cómo siguió su educación? ¿Decidieron educarse en la rama matrimonial o individual, así como para caballeros y de mujeres?
Como estábamos en Fuerza Aérea, había que estar viajando continuamente. Por lo tanto, pertenecer a un grupo se hacía difícil. Pero en cualquier lugar, cualquier momento que teníamos para agarrarnos al santuario o agarrarnos a alguien que tuviera en puerta de movimiento, pues claro, esa era nuestra manera. Hasta que básicamente salimos de la Fuerza Aérea. Por ejemplo, Pagán nos visitó, uno de los obispos de Boston vino también a nuestra casa y entonces la pasó muy bien. O sea que estamos buscando, casi remediando por la situación de tener que mudarnos tanto. Ahora con más estabilidad, pues claro, estamos pendientes ahora a la educación de los nietos. A ver si los nietos Curioso que los nietos cuando vienen a jugar, el único sitio que encuentran tranquilo para jugar es... Yo no le digo nada, pero yo...
Siempre se va a esa área.
Yo doy la vuelta, los veo jugando, veo el cuadro de la mata, me sonrío y sigo caminando.
The question that was asked was in regards to their continual growth within the Schoenstatt family. Did they did so as a couple within the matrimonial groups, or did they did separately in the men's group or the women's group? The response was, well, once they got married, my dad was in the military, so while he was active in the Air Force, he kept being moved from base to base, house to house, so they weren't able to follow up with a married group or with men's group or female group, but they just, with every opportunity they got, everywhere they went, they try to contact someone or learn and grow until they finally moved to Puerto Rico, and then they could continue over there. And then he also mentions once they settled, now they're working with the grandchildren, and when the grandchildren visit the house, the place they feel most comfortable to play around is right in front of the home shrine.
So one of the things that we did that I guess illustrates how we had to pick and choose to be able to continue our formation is every time we move from one base to another base, we try to make contact with one of the shrines. So when we were moving from Oklahoma to Boston, we stopped by Milwaukee, un poquito diferente. But the reason we wanted to go visit Sister Winifred in Patacanse. And so we went to the old house where the inside of the true shrine as we know it was pulled out, and they put some other things in there. But at that Schoenstatt house where the sisters were, they still had everything there. So Sister Winifred said, "Oh, let's take this child and bless it." It was Maria, the oldest. So this very fragile sister is picking up this very hefty young baby, and we're like, she's going to drop it, she's going to drop her, she's going to drop her, she's going to drop her. And she didn't drop her. She just put her on the altar, said a prayer, and that's it. So, these are the examples of the things that we try to do. Remember we said La Victoria, we went during our honeymoon? So we try constantly to have contact one way or another. We have priests visit us. We have, sisters visiting us. So we try to make up that way. I think the important thing for us is there was always a way to continue our formation regardless of our situation.
And also the influence of Hilda and Jesus. We always had the contact with them until he passed. He also came to visit us. So
Pon la foto de ellos del videíto que salió, que yo vi que lo vieron.
sí,
Lo
¿verdad?
encontré. Para que lo vean.
So they even live with the father in the house of Father Catholic. So they have all this wealth of information, and we, as their ahijados, they were our
Children.
I remember when I first talked about the baby, Hilda would call me, "How's you doing? Can you breastfeed?" And just little things like that. Always that support. And every time we came to Puerto Rico, we would visit them. We'd visit their home shrine. They have the blessed, because it was a deacon, they have the blessed sacrament there. So, and if we go to Puerto Rico, we visit the Sister Nancy's. So we always have the contact, even though he was active in the military.
Resaltar algo, ahorita vi por ahí la foto. Ahí está. Una foto de grande. So these are
Mis padrinos.
my spiritual grandfathers. Jesús Diácono, Deacon, Jesús María Pagán, Hilda. We were actually in the process of bringing Hilda to come to this retreat for her health is not. So we wanted her to come. We tried. Queríamos traer el Diácono Jesús María Pagán, Hilda Pagán. Queríamos traer a Hilda para este retiro, pero su salud está un poquito delicada, no la podemos traer. Pero ellos, como ves, con el padre fundador, fueron una de las parejitas que se reunían con el padre fundador cuando estaba en exilio en las famosas Monday evening talk, ¿cómo se dice en español?
Mondays.
En la conferencia de los lunes en las noches. Y pues verlos ahí y saber que ellos entonces de ahí comparten con ellos y ellos después establecen una familia de la cual pues ahí salgo yo, pero ven cómo se pasa de generación en generación. Yo aprendí de ellos, ellos aprendieron de ellos, ellos aprendieron del padre fundador. O sea que no necesariamente eran parte de la rama de hombres o rama de mujeres o rama matrimonial, sino que con relación a otras parejas, especialmente la pareja de Jesús María Pagán, que diácono inspira a un diácono, y diácono inspira a un sacerdote, todo dentro de la misma familia, la importancia de la familia, la importancia de santuarios hogares. So, it's a beautiful thing to see, like the generations. You see Father Joseph Kentenich, who formed this couple, the deacon, who eventually became a deacon, how they adopted when they were college students and became their spiritual children and taught them in the spirituality of Schoenstatt, and how they raised their own family where I come from, how a deacon inspiring a deacon, inspiring a priest, the importance of the family. It happens in the home, the domestic church, and how the power of a home shrine. Actually, this is a picture of a home shrine, and how when they came to Puerto Rico, this couple, they met my parents, and then see how it's passed on from generation to generation from the context of home and home shrines.
So, Diácono Pagán nos cuenta de su tiempo bien antes con el padre, casi 3 años. Vivía en una casa que tenían reservado para unos conserjes que atendían vendían el edificio y el seminario y donde estaban viviendo los sacerdotes allá en Holy Cross, debe ser, ¿right? Holy Cross. Entonces, él quería estar continuamente con el padre, pero no podía. Y entonces él aceptó el trabajo de conserje. Tenía un bachillerato en psicología, pero echó eso para atrás solamente para estar dentro del edificio, para entonces escuchar y poder hablar más directamente con el padre. Entonces ellos en la casa que tenían, puertorriqueño exagerado como siempre, dedicaron un cuarto entero al santuario hogar. Y cuando el padre entró dijo, "This is really a home shrine." Porque nosotros tenían como un rinconcito, pero como ellos dedicaron el cuarto completo, pues quedó impresionado. Y muchas de esas impresiones y muchas de esas experiencias, como nosotros lo estamos haciendo ahora, lo hacía él con nosotros. Había cosas que él decía, no puedes decir esto a nadie, esto es confidencial para ti, y confidencial para ti, confidencial. Bueno, se me olvidaron todos. Y entonces muchos de ellos eran en relación a su encuentro con el Padre, pero lo que sí sobresalta es que es como que paso a paso cómo ellos vieron y cómo ellos siguieron lo que la Divina Providencia tenía para ellos, aunque fuera fácil, aunque fuera difícil. Y fue difícil porque ellos perdieron 2 niños, perdieron a Carlito y perdieron a Tere, o sea, perdieron 2 niños, casi uno detrás de otro. Y los 2 están enterrados en el santuario, en el cementerio de Holy Cross, que queda cerca. Pero una de las cosas que siempre me impresionó y que me impresiona todavía es que nosotros pensamos en el santuario hogar en adelante, pero si miramos también el aspecto de prefundación, antes, ¿qué ocurre antes de nuestro santuario hogar? Es tan importante porque eso ahí están los caminos. Ahí está la verificación, la validación de que la Santísima Virgen verdaderamente está interesado en que formen un hogar con la misión de Shonsta. Por ejemplo, si lo pensamos, nosotros nos conocemos desde que ella tenía 14 y yo tenía 15, 16 años. Y entonces la manera en que nos conocimos es como miramos para atrás y decimos, mira, cómo la providencia va poco a poco proveyendo. O sea, nosotros tenemos 50 años de casados, pero nos conocemos desde mucho antes. Entonces, o sea, que miramos cómo esos pasos, cómo la Divina Providencia va alineando todo y cómo ella busca su manera de girarnos en torno a la misión de Shonsta.
So something that he's highlighting is sometimes we think of what happens after the home shrine and the history, but often you also have to go how it started and before the establishment of a home shrine, as to see how the hand of God in its divine providence have been orchestrating things to come together for you to have the home shrine, and then what happens after the home shrine. So they're bearing witness of, yes, they've been 15 years married, but they know each other since mom was 14 and dad was 16. And how in divine providence God was orchestrating to see the hand of Mary at work, putting things together that led eventually to the home shrine and everything we speak about the home shrine, but she was at work from even before the home shrine. So to be conscious that she is already at work even before you got here.
I think that some of the most powerful ways to see the action of the Blessed Mother is when there's a big transition in the family. We have had many big transitions in our family. And, in every single transition, we'll be able to see how she is protecting and how she is guiding. Some of these are transitions, for instance, from house to house. One of the bigger transitions right now is with our youngest daughter. Our youngest daughter is multiple handicapped. She cannot speak, she cannot hear, she cannot walk, she cannot eat by herself. And this is, the youngest of all. So we've dedicated, and my entire family have dedicated our time to her. One of the lessons that we've learned from this child that is multiple handicapped is what is unconditional love. Because she can't ask for anything. If she pinches herself, she doesn't know how to cry. So, the lesson for us that even though she's handicapped, she became, and she is, a very powerful source of, love coming through the house.
Ver cómo no solamente mirando hacia atrás, pero cuando miras atrás y ver los momentos de transiciones, momentos grandes de transición en la historia de nuestra familia, ver la mano de nuestra Madre Santísima presente. Entre ellos estaban compartiendo el testimonio de mi hermanita pequeña, que nació con múltiples impedimentos médicos, no puede caminar, no hablar, se la alimenta por un tubo, y ver cómo aún con estos eventos no aún, por medio de estos eventos, cómo nuestra Madre Santísima sigue enseñando a nivel de familia, el aprender cómo es el cuidado de alguien especial, cómo poder aprender lo que es el amor incondicional, y bueno, lo que es la compasión, por ejemplo, de mi perspectiva personal, uno de los principios básicos que yo uso como líder de una comunidad es: nosotros somos tan fuertes como el más débil de la comunidad. ¿De dónde yo aprendí eso? Pues de mi casa. Somos tan fuertes como familia como el más vulnerable de la familia. Así que si todos atendemos a la hermanita chiquita, que es la más vulnerable, pues cuán fuerte esté ella, vamos a estar fuertes nosotros. Y noten que todo un plan pastoral a nivel de esta parroquia es en función de cuáles son los 3 puntos más necesarios, los más vulnerables en nuestra comunidad, cómo atenderlos, porque si atendemos los más vulnerables, así de fuerte vamos a estar. Lecciones que uno aprende en esas transiciones de vida y las lecciones de historia personal.
So it's not only looking at transitions, but also looking at moments of crisis. Every time there's a moment of crisis, that's where she shines. For instance, I had to go for a couple of months out into the war. Of course, all the Iraq, Afghanistan, and all that. So that was an incredible separation from the family. But the family was protected, and I was protected. And that was a crisis because it's like, a disruption of family life, not being present, not being able to help with the family. And, so what happened during that time frame? The amount of stories that I have in the military that say, I'm protecting you, versus the stories that are at home saying, even though Dad's not around, things will continue to move. One of the things where when I got there, the priest that was supposed to be at the camp, at the military camp, was not there. So I'm thinking, should I tell him that I'm a deacon or not? I don't know. It's going to be more work. But eventually, so I had, as a commander of a unit, but at the same time, deacon, it was like, it's going to be very confusing, so I didn't want to do that. But it just came out, so it means the Blessed Mother wanted me to do that. So I ended up for 2 or 3 weeks until we could find this priest that was lost in the battlefield and bring him back, be able to do at least minor liturgies. But these are the little details that even though it's not only transitions. If you look at transitions in your life, or you look at moments of crisis in your life, that's where she shines. You just have to be aware of how she does it.
No solamente en momentos de transición, sino también en momentos de crisis. Ahí es cuando vemos la mano de nuestra Madre Santísima brillar. Los papis compartían el testimonio de cuando él fue a la guerra, cuando estuvo separado de la familia por cuestiones de la milicia, cómo se sintió protegido, cómo la familia estaba protegida, cómo las cosas continuaron aún con la separación de distancia y de gran riesgo. En momentos de crisis, nuestra Madre Santísima resplandece con su presencia y su ayuda. Ahora, aplicación de perspectiva mía, esa lección, cómo la aprendí y la puse en práctica, por ejemplo, en la parroquia de Transfiguración. En medio de una crisis, ¿cómo puede brillar la presencia de nuestra Madre Santísima? Bueno, pues entregar una parroquia, pedir santuarios hogares, colaborarse en un santuario, que una parroquia se entrega pidiendo en cambio recibir en cambio un santuario mariano diocesano. ¿Cómo ver en momentos de crisis una oportunidad donde la Madre Santísima está trabajando y brilla, pero poder colaborar también con ella? No solamente la experiencia de ella, sino como yo lo aprendí, cómo lo aplico como sacerdote. The application of it. So, when he was saying that person of the Blessed Mother in the midst of transitions, they were talking about, one of the biggest transitions in our life youngest sister was born, Jocelyn, with special needs. But how me growing up in this home shrine, I learned from them of how to care for the most vulnerable, and to learn that we are as strong as a family as the most vulnerable member of our family. So as I grew up in the home shrine, where we all dedicated our efforts to care for the most vulnerable, is what formed me as a leader. To one of my guiding principles as a leader of a parish is we are as strong as our weakest member of our parish. Our whole pastoral plan that is developed in this parish is focusing on who are the most vulnerable in our community and how can we attend to their needs, because we are strong as the most vulnerable, something I learned from the experience of my parents' home shrine. But also how the presence of our Blessed Mother shines forth in not just times of transition, but also in times of crisis. You know, my dad was sharing in English about when he was in war, but in Spanish, when I translated, I made the application that me learning to see the hand of Mary at work in moments of crisis is what formed me as a leader when I was in the parish of Transfiguration and the great crisis of having to close down a parish. I applied what I grew up learning. Said, well, in the midst of a crisis, there's an opportunity for the Blessed Mother to shine. So to understand that the Blessed Mother wanted for us and the people in the parish to collaborate towards a diocesan shrine, that something as sad as losing a parish can bear fruits with Mary of giving a shrine, a diocesan shrine for the good of so many people. So learning from them, of what they learn from them, who they learn from him, you know, how it's passed on from generation to generation to have the same impact in your family. I also want to make a little footnote here is, you know, they're not necessarily going to share it, but I'm going to take the liberty to do so. They don't come from perfect families. You know, they come from parents who emotional abuse, physical abuse. They grew up in dysfunctional families, and yet they were able to do all this. Why? They inserted themselves into a new family, a spiritual family. They learned from parents that became spiritual parents, spiritual grandfather, and Mary as a spiritual mother, and they were able to do something different, not what they learned at home, because what they learned at home was totally the opposite of what they're living out. And they were able to make it possible because for God, nothing is impossible, especially if you have the help of our Blessed Mother. So I could have been raised in a whole abusive family, which is the family they grew up, and they broke away from that. They were able to do something different as they aligned themselves with a different current, different spirituality, different way of being family, raising children, and to that I am a benefit of. I'm going to translate that into Spanish. Parte de algo que quizás ellos no van a compartir, y quizás me regañen después, compartiendo información que no estudia para compartir, pero mis padres no crecieron en familias perfectas. El contexto de mis abuelitos y de donde se criaron mis padres era un contexto abusivo, físico, mental, no era un contexto perfecto. Si ellos seguían ese mismo patrón, yo hubiera sufrido grandemente, pero ellos decidieron alinearse a otra familia y aprender de otras corrientes. Una familia espiritual, nuestra Madre Santísima, un padre espiritual, el Padre 𝐒𝐿𝐴, de ellos, padres que adoptan a hijos espirituales, ellos viven lo que han aprendido, y de ahí toda una manera de criar una familia totalmente diferente a lo que ellos fueron criados. Ellos vivieron algo para nosotros que ellos no sabían. Ellos no vivieron eso, pero yo lo viví. Y le doy gracias a Dios que descubrieron esa corriente, porque si no hubiera yo nacido en una corriente abusiva, la misma que ellos aprendieron y que me iban a pasar a mí. Así que gloria a Dios que no tuvo que pasar todo eso. O sea, que el impacto que tiene, no importa hasta tu pasado, puede ser diferente con la ayuda de nuestra Madre.
So you can see how hard it is to limit the amount of things that you want to talk about when we talk about somebody you love. This is why I had the little paper. If I had the big paper, that would be... I think it's also, I can see all the hungry faces, so I guess it's fine to put it here. And of course, we can still share informally. But, I want to thank you for your attention. And then, Father, if you give us a blessing to start for
Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. Amén. Heavenly Father, we thank you. Gracias, Padre Celestial, por este compartir de este testimonio, esta inspiración, este llamado a hacer de nuestras casas un santuario hogar, lugar de bendición para nuestras familias. Father, we ask you to continue blessing us, and we thank you for the testimony shared and the inspiration we're receiving and the prompting of your Spirit to make of our houses a home shrine where a family can grow in holiness, can grow in love. Bless the food we are about to share. Bendice los alimentos que vamos a compartir y que sigas bendiciendo nuestro compartir en el nombre del Padre y del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. Amén. Thank you for listening.